All right, guys, I got a subscriber that was asking me specifically about my trunk mount battery, how I put it in the car and all that stuff. So I thought I'd take a minute and show how I did my car. Now I'm going to say right off the bat, this is not how you should do your trunk mount battery, and this is not a video of telling you this is the only way to do it. He asked me how I did it, and this is how I did it. I don't care how anybody else does it. I've only installed a few trunk mount batteries through the years, and I actually learned the hard way on my very first one I did. Because I didn't know, had all kinds of issues, and it ended up costing me more money. So I'll run you through that. When you do a trunk mount battery, the most important thing you need to know is grounding. Don't just put the ground off the battery to the frame and call it a day. You need a full ground circuit throughout your car. There is 3 main grounds you need. You need your engine grounded, you need your body grounded, and you need your chassis grounded. From the factory, they had a ground strap down here. It's like a braided stainless strap. In the body, there's a nut welded in the body, and it bolts on there, and it goes to the factory transmission mount, if I remember right, on the original trannies. I have mine just going to a bell housing bolt on my transmission because I have 700R4. But anyway, I have the body to engine. And then in the back is where the body's grounded at the battery. So I'll run you through that. Finish that in a second. I do want to say on the main battery cable here, I just had this hooked up for when I started the car the other day. I have a body mount cover that goes on here, and it has a hole in the side of it with a rubber grommet. So this battery cable will go through that rubber grommet and go out this way, and I have another bracket that will bolt on back here. So that cable will be more something like this. So it'll be a little bit cleaner and a little bit further away from the headers. I have it running down through the body here, and I have these plastic clamps on here that I've showed before. They're just like the Billet Specialties, but these are from a company called T-Clamp, and I get them from Summit. I changed the hardware out. They come with Phillips screws. I changed them out to a countersink Allen stainless steel, and I drilled and tapped the frame. But I did that because the Billet Specialties come with those, so I wanted them to match. Anyway, I like to use plastic on the body mount, or the main power, you know, so it doesn't short out. I'll show you back here. Now this battery is just a Walmart EverStart. This is actually for my 4-door. I bought it new for it. I have an Optima. I just got it in actually, that I've got to put in here because this is a Billet Specialties battery tray for an Optima battery. Now I like to use top posts. Just me, just personal preference, and this is the reason. If you have stuff you need to add on to your traditional style battery clamps, like these are just the cheapy red and black battery clamps you can get at Walmart, and they're not very expensive. And anyway, you can add stuff to them by the bolts on the clamps right here. Like this right here will be going to one of those bolts right there. They're, you know, like that. Of course, it'll be rounded in and nice, but anyway, that's why I like using top posts, and because you have these extra things you can put eyeletted, you know, wires on. I actually got, this is the power wire for my amplifier. I got to put an eyelet on it, and it will go to one of those as well. Now, like here on the ground, I can show you. I've already got one on there, a lugged smaller ground. This is actually my body ground. It's only because I had some of this cable here. But anyway, I have plastic clamps going to the body up in here, and then it kicks over to there, and I have it cleaned the metal there, and I've got it bolted to it. Now I like to use star washers on grounds because the star washer actually digs into the metal. Put your star washer up against on the metal part of whatever you're bolting it to first, then put your like your eyelet to it, and then put your bolt on your eyelet. That's just how I do it. Some of the new cars are done that way. It's just the way I do it. But anyway, so you have several options if you have to ever add a wire for something, whether it be power or ground, to go off of it. Now I do have some of those T-clamps back here screwed to the body as well, so these will be, you know, fairly routed and nice, I guess you would say. But anyway, the whole inside of my trunk will be upholstered and walled off, so you won't see any of it. But oh, might cover this. This is the radio memory wire for me. I have a battery cutoff switch in my trunk so I can kill the battery to the car. Not only is it to basically a theft deterrent, or, you know, if the car's going to set for a long period of time, I can turn the battery off and it'll, you know, save the battery. But anyway, this is a radio memory wire, and I've got it running directly. It'll actually go straight to my radio and bypass the battery cutoff switch and go straight to the battery cable. This way it's directly on battery all times, so you don't lose your radio stations and your clock and all that stuff in your radio. Now, I'm going to show you something that it might actually surprise a couple of guys. I had a pretty heated argument a few years ago on a guy, because the very first one I did in the 90s when I was in my 20s, early 90s, this is what I done, and my thought in my head is what got me in trouble. This is an engine mount. This is an energy suspension polyurethane engine mount. It wouldn't matter if this was a replacement stock like a Pioneer or whatever, you know, from O'Reilly's. This pertains to any of them. The guy at the shop told me, I told him he was wiring a car, and I told him don't forget the body to engine, engine to frame or whatever grounds on it to get a full circuit. And he goes, you don't need none of that because it grounds through the motor mounts. And I said, no, it doesn't. Well, anyway, he got all bent out of shape because he thought I was being a smart ass. I learned the hard way, so I'll show you. So I'm going to put this multimeter on what I call squawk, because it basically squawks at you. So anyway, you take these. Now the motor mounts, if you look at them, you can tell they're two pieces. Now a lot of guys may not know this, but these are rubber isolated. This does not ground through, because when you put these together, you've got a ground. When you put it up here on the top one, you don't get a ground. So a lot of people may not know that. So don't think you're going to get a ground to your engine from the frame because of the motor mounts. It does not work that way. Anyway, I'll show you back here. Yeah, I can show you here. I've got battery cutoff switch right there. I've got my battery cable coming straight from the starter across the frame rails, coming up in through the floor and over to that. And the other side is going back out and around and going to the battery. You get under here, I'll show you this. And again, this is just how I done my car. I don't care how all you other professionals do it. This is just me. He asked me how I was doing it on my car, and I'm just showing you. So I've got these custom deals off eBay. I don't even remember what these are called. They bolt together, they're plastic. And anyway, I put them in the floor. Now I had to add a piece of sheet metal here, and I just kind of made it a little artsy looking, give it a little shape. And I welded it to the factory brace line and then ground it and body filled it and then spray lined everything. But to me, it kind of looks like it's supposed to be there. But anyway, the ground directly to the battery post is coming right down through there, going straight to the frame. If you can see that. Now what I got here is I took a nut and welded it into the frame rail. And then, I used a step bit and opened up the hole to where the nut fit down in there. And then I perimeter welded it and then I ground it. So that gave me a boss into the chassis for a direct ground to frame. So I have basically frame going to battery and then battery to body and then firewall to engine. So I have a full ground circuit. Because when you don't have your grounds hooked up, you have weird stuff happen with your electrical system. Like you'll have weird oddball stuff going on. It wreaks havoc on stuff. But anyway, that's how I did it. It's just, it's kind of a basic deal. I don't have a lot of crap on this car. He was asking me if I use a junction block. This car is basic. The only power thing I have is an alternator, and I got a small 250 watt amplifier. So I don't have a lot of power accessories on here. So I don't really need a bunch of different stuff. But anyway, guys, I hope it helps. I got to get back to work on this car. I got lots to do. I got 2 months left.